What's going on, party people? It is time to get into it. The DFW real estate market is, as almost always, well positioned compared to the rest of the nation. Lots of information to report, lots of data. Our team at the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team did a deep dive data analysis, market reporting, review of other market reports, and created sort of a group report with a tremendous amount of research and reporting this week. So we'll be sharing that with you as we make our way through the show. We'll go ahead and lead with the punchline here. DFW weathers an awkward real estate market better than most, as always. That's where we are. The hottest, most in-demand areas of DFW are doing very well as far as values, competition, market activity. Overall market activity compared to 2-3 years ago still feels like we're stuck in third or fourth gear. We were flying in fifth or sixth there for a while, but compared to much of the country, man, do we have it pretty darn good. So we'll talk about what that means for buyers. We'll talk about what that means for sellers, and maybe more than anyone, we'll talk about what that means if you are both a seller and a buyer as we make our way through the show. If you've got questions about your situation or what's going on with you specifically, call or text 214-310-0008, or you can always just find me on social media. Just find Todd Tremonti anywhere, send me a message, and we will get back to you immediately, or we'll answer your questions right here on the show. Find me anywhere, Todd Tremonti on social media, call or text 214-310-0008, or you can find us online at
ToddTremontiTeam.com.
And for all of your mortgage needs, whether you're looking to take out a mortgage, if you're looking to refinance, looking for a second or third property, reach out to Patrick Glaros and his team at Cardinal Financial. You can start an application right on his website, patrickglaros.com, Glaros. NMLS number 308804 972 728 3420 is his phone number, patrickglaros.com.
What's that, folks? Those are the soothing tones of the English wonder himself, the Yanni Donnie, Ian Daniels. Team lead
Present
of the Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team. Listen, folks, if you're thinking about real estate, making a move, you have questions, you're looking for a vendor, you pick up the phone and you call or text 214-310-0008. There's a pretty good chance you get to hear that soothing English, beautiful voice on the other end of the line and get to chat with Ian about your real estate plans, your goals, and he can get you connected with one of our full-time, fully committed, world-class real estate pros. By the way, we're looking for 2 more. If you're interested in that sort of thing, you let us know. ToddTremontiTeam.com. Just Google Todd Tremonti or call or text 214-310-0008.
All right, let's kick us off. Let's have a market update. We haven't done one of these in a while, so give us kind of a state of the union as to where we're at, both on the Dallas side, the Fort Worth side, and everything in between.
Yeah, there's just a tremendous amount of bad information out there. There's also a bunch of good information out there. Part of the confusion right now is that it really depends on where you are. So I can give you some overall data, but as always, maybe now more than ever, but always true, real estate is hyper-local. Not only do you want to think more about your zip code than your city, you want to think more about your neighborhood than your zip code. And then you want to think more about your block than your neighborhood, and more about your side or your end of the block than the whole block. It's just the way real estate works. It's not the way we often talk about it, but you might hear national real estate market news, which I'll give you here in a minute, and it's going to be relevant, but oftentimes barely relevant to your local, hyper-local experience. So DFW-wide right now, statistically speaking, on the average, which can be misleading, we are still in a seller's market, meaning we still have low inventory and we still have solid buyer demand. That means that buyers are competing on the best properties, that sellers are stable, if not aggressive with pricing. Again, let me reiterate, there are pockets where markets are acting differently. There are price points. For example, on the Fort Worth side of the market feels different depending on price point and depending on neighborhood to neighborhood. Fort Worth is a much more diversified market as far as property value, time on market, inventory numbers. As prices go up in Fort Worth, statistically speaking, we're looking at a buyer's market. It doesn't feel that way in negotiations. Buyers don't have a tremendous amount more leverage than sellers, but statistically speaking, we do have more inventory and it's taking longer to sell higher end homes in Fort Worth. On the Dallas side, certainly inside the city of Dallas, we've still got fairly low inventory, rising prices, and decent buyer demand. In key pockets like Plano, Richardson, Frisco, McKinney, most of those areas have less than 30 days average days on market for a home to sell, have very low housing inventory, less than 3 months. Not all, but most of those areas, and prices that are still rising at or very, very near all-time highs. We have seen some dips and some recoveries, but the data is showing that across the whole market, we're still in a seller-leaning market, meaning sellers have more leverage than buyers. But in certain pockets, we're seeing buyers have real opportunity. Now, on the whole, what people usually want to know in the market report is where are we going in the future, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. We got a bunch of stuff we want to get to. I do want to tell you about goodgaragefloors.com. We've had so much rain lately, but one of the cool things we did with goodgaragefloors.com, other than our garage floors, is our sport court in the backyard. We just had a big concrete slab that they came out and did some stain work on and turned into a pickleball court. And on the dry days, we have been absolutely loving it. And with the stain coating they did, we've been able to squeegee that water off and really get a ton of use out of it. So goodgaragefloors.com is one of our favorites right now. They have taken great care of us, taken great care of a couple of my good personal friends, and can take great care of you as well. If you want to coat those garage floors, looking for outdoor concrete coating, or looking for some polished flooring in an interior space, residential or commercial, check out goodgaragefloors.com.
All right, so a lot of people get really stuck on the idea that they need to put 20% down when they're buying a house. Yep. So the question is, what are some of the other kind of creative ways that that somebody can do to be able to own a home if that's what they want to do?
Yeah, let me answer this two ways. Number one, you don't have to get creative to not put 20% down. There are very boring, standard, lots of people do it ways to get a mortgage for as little as 3.5% down payment. Now, that's going to affect the amount of your monthly payment. The more you put down, which just means the more you pay up front, the less you're borrowing. So if you get a 50% mortgage, your payment's going to be way lower than a 20% mortgage. If you get a 20% mortgage, your payment's going to be a lot lower than a 3.5% down or a 5% down or a 10% down. By the way, your down payment doesn't have to be some round percentage number. You could say, I've got $38,000. That's how much I can put down. Okay, that might be 21.2% or 6.8%. You have to qualify for these different loan programs, but there are lots and lots and lots of different loan programs, especially if you're speaking with a lender like Patrick Glaros, who has the ability to go source and find lots of different loan options for you. If you walked into your local retail bank, they might tell you, we have a 30-year option, we have a 15-year option, and that may be it, actually. They might have 3 options. They might have 1 option. There are other brokers like Patrick and bankers who have lots and lots and lots and lots of different options for you. But when you talk about creative, what I'm saying is you don't even have to get creative to have lots of different options as far as down payment. Now, where you can get creative is if you potentially find a seller that's willing to finance that for you, or you found a private investor, could be a family member or friend or a local private lender, or multiple banks. Potentially you borrow 60% from one bank and 20% from another. Back in the day, we used to do a lot of 100% financing where you would borrow 70 or 80% from one bank and 20 or 30% from another bank. I say we, I mean we as an industry used to do that. And I've even seen 80-10-10 where you have 3 different loans. The rates get higher on those second and third loans and the options get less attractive. But we could talk for hours and hours and days on how all the different ways you can get creative. The good news for most people is you don't have to get very creative at all to adjust how much you put as a down payment or pay up front. You just need to start the conversation with your lender and real estate agent earlier in the process, which is what I say all the time. all the time. You cannot start that conversation too early. Most people start it too late. What's the consequence of starting it too late? You lose out on all these options. You're in a hurry. You're impulsive. You have to kind of take the best deal that you can get done in your timeline. If you start early enough, you can investigate the different options. You can prepare for the different options, and you might find that you want to go a 15-year or a 30-year, or you find, to your question about creativity, even a 10 or 20-year mortgage. Those do exist. They're more rare, but there are a lot of options out there. But if you just want to impact your down payment amount, that doesn't require a tremendous amount of creativity. It just requires a great lender. I would suggest you go to patrickglaros.com.
Well, I think that's something that most people don't realize, right, is that there are multiple types of loans. Like, there's not just
people
one
call
loan.
it a conventional loan or a non-conventional loan, a conforming loan, FHA, VA.
Yeah, and there's so many like ways that you can like adjust and change the interest rate that you're going to be paying with buy downs and things like that. But people generally, I find, just think, oh, I just need to get a home mortgage, and it's like, right, but that could be one of so many things.
You make a great point. Let's get producer Courtney on the mic here and ask her a question, because she typically serves for us as an outside viewpoint. She's not actively selling real estate, so she helps us view things from a consumer standpoint.
Unknowledgeable.
Well, no one. Look, that's a hot take.
Wow.
I mean, she's been learning real estate in our famous segment. Courtney Learns Real Estate.
That's towards the end of the show.
Making a joke.
Here's my question. I think Ian's perfectly correct.
Unknowledgeable?
Nope. That the average consumer figures there's only one or two kinds of loans, right? Mm-hmm. You agree with that?
Totally.
Okay. So here's my contention, my opinion. It's a professional opinion. It's educated, and I honestly believe it's fact because I have 20-something years to support it. But you tell me. Mm-hmm. I believe, and experience has proven to me, that the average home buyer and seller knows a little but feels obligated to act like they know a lot, and is scared or embarrassed or uncertain about admitting that they don't know certain things. So we see a lot of people that don't ask questions about mortgage options or how escrow works or the difference in the option fee and the earnest money or this part of the contract or what's normal to request for inspections or what's normal to pay for, or can I ask them to pay that fee? There's a lot of times where the consumer is like, I think I'm supposed to know that, so I'm going to act like I do know that, but I'm nervous because I don't know if I know that.
Todd, I feel like the question I'm about to ask you is something like you're a coach, you're wise. How do I know what I don't know?
So as let's be honest, as silly as that question sounds, it's an excellent question. I believe I have built our business, and I have not done this alone, but like my vision, our team company goal is to build a business for that person. Now, our clientele tends to be a higher knowledge-based clientele, meaning these are people that have done some real estate and done some research. They've at least looked some things up on the internet. They've probably bought a house or two before. They're not showing up like just completely ignorant, meaning like uninformed. But even they have a lot of questions and have some uncertainty about acknowledging, I don't really know how that works. So because of that, our initial consultation that we have with a buyer and a seller is designed to take a little more time than just quick and easy get out there, to inform people, to educate them on things that they probably don't know that they should be asking, or they might have a partial understanding of. We call it a consultation for a reason. Most people call it a presentation. I will come to your house and give you a listing presentation. We actually call that a marketing initial consultation or a buyer's initial consultation. It's consultative because we're actually asking you a lot of questions. Hey, are you familiar with this part? Have you done this before? Do you understand how this works? Do you think this would be more valuable? Do you need this, or do you think you would need that? Do you want this, or would you want that? Or do you understand that this could be the consequence of that? Do you understand that this could be the benefit of that? Do you understand that you have these 2 options or 6 options or infinite options? And so we've made every effort. That's one of my favorite questions to ask other people. And I typically don't enter into complicated situations unless I'm very informed. And I will always ask, What question am I not asking that I should be asking? Which is basically what you just said. How do I know what I don't know? Well, it's a great way to live your life knowing that there's a lot you don't know. The answer is you can't. Someone has to help you. You need an expert who not only is an expert, but you believe can advocate for you and guide and protect you, which is exactly the way we've built the business. I did not know you were going to ask that question, but it's a great question because it sets us up for what makes us unique. One of our core values is to differentiate with excellence. One of the ways we can be excellent is to help you get answers to questions you didn't even know you should be asking, so that you sleep like a baby at night knowing, wow, I'd never thought of it this way. I never even knew. Sometimes that means scaring people a little bit, like, hey, there's some consequences you weren't aware of. So that's the value of slowing down before we speed up, of having an initial consultation and not just wanting the door opened. Having a consultative, conversation or free strategy session before you just decide to throw the house out on the market. So great question. It sounds like you're saying you completely agree with me that consumers, buyers and sellers, are often in the position of feeling like they're supposed to know something and not always being willing to admit that they don't, therefore getting themselves into some trouble.
100%.
Yep.
I mean, I absolutely, and I don't know, I'm feeling like my eyes are really wide open in this conversation because I feel like I acquiesced to my husband at the time, and then just got a real estate agent that I trusted. I asked no questions and had no understanding of this giant purchase that we were making. It's just a next step. You get married, you have 2 kids, and you buy a house.
Yeah. And anyway, without going down the rabbit hole there's a lot of just assumptive, that's what everyone does, that's what I'll do. And that doesn't mean that agent isn't trustworthy or care for you.
But you could get yourself in a situation.
It might, maybe so, maybe no, might mean that you missed out on massive opportunity or better fit or less liability or less stress and anxiety or more value or all those things.
Totally.
Because you just didn't know what you didn't know. You didn't know what you should be asking. You didn't know the upsides and the downsides. And to me, that's the difference in having an agent and having an advocate, having a guide, a leader, an expert. And to me, that's the difference between the Todd Tremonti home selling team and the agents we coach and train around the country and your typical agent. There's a lot of anger at our industry, like agents are jerks and idiots. I don't think there are that many jerks. I do think there are some idiots, not as many as people think. I think there's a lot of actually well-intentioned people that just aren't experts, right? Like they're helping their handfuls of friends and neighbors buy and sell homes, but they're not approaching it like a full-time committed professional that understands the decisions I make or help people make have massive lasting impact. And I need to give this serious intensity and focus and advocacy for these people. And they need more than fill out the blanks and open the doors and get it done. They need leadership, guidance, advocacy, protection, expert navigation. And to me, that's the difference in what we're talking about. Sorry, Ian, that was a very long question, very long answer to your question.
You're putting 20% down.
But it spoke to that part that I think I know. I keep saying I think because I'm trying to be careful, but I know for a fact thousands and thousands of people every year buy and sell homes in this anxiety of like, I think I'm supposed to know that, so I'm not going to ask. And it's just a dangerous place to be. We don't want people to have to be in that spot.
I got a text from a buddy yesterday that just said that his insurance company was no longer going to be operating in the state of Texas on both his home and his auto insurance. And then he said, who's your guy again? And I said, DP Lambert. That's my guy. Goosehead Insurance. You need to reach out to him. I texted DP. I said, hey, be on the lookout for Brian. He said, I will do. Brian's going to reach out to him. And he's going to get him sorted. Like, he's going to make sure that he gets the best coverage for the best price. He's going to get him everything he needs. He's saved me thousands of dollars over the years on both my home and my auto. And he can do the same for you. You can reach out to DP. You can send him an email, dp.lambert, Lambert, at goosehead.com. You can give him a call, 214-614-8595. Or you can just go to toddtremonteam.com. You can click on the radio tab, and you can find every single one of the pros and vendors we talk about and more right there.
I know you're a trusted connector and you're sphere of influence and social groups. So for real, how does it feel when somebody asks you for a vendor and you don't have the same level of confidence in them that you have in DP?
It's a good question. I mean, it just gives you a little bit of a nervousness.
It's a nerve-wracking deal to be like, hey, here's a guy that I've heard of, but I don't know. You have to be really careful. And then with DP, you just don't have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I had that the other day where I sent somebody that had been told to me that they were good. I have never actually used them, and I was like, this is what I've been told, but go ahead and do it. And it ended up being fine. But yeah, I was
you're
like,
nervous. They're a little nervous.
Yeah.
There's a disclaimer. But then with DP, you can just say, no, this is my guy.
This is the
like,
guy.
He's awesome.
Yeah, 100%.
So great. dp.lambert@goosehead.com. Shoot him an email.
What did you think to the final version of the Summer Fun Guide?
Listen, Summer Fun Guide is legit this year. That's
so good.
Short for legitimate, if you didn't know. Summer Fun Guide this year. You need a copy. We made a digital copy of this completely free to you. If you don't take advantage of it, I don't understand why you wouldn't. Just go to toddtremonti.team.com right now. There's a banner across the top that you can click and very quickly just drop an email in there, and we will send you as soon as it's hot off the press, as soon as it's ready, which is like days away at this point.
Yeah.
You can get on the waiting list. As soon as it's ready, you'll get one, so that your May, June, July, August, and probably September are better, because we have gathered cool stuff to do, fun places to go, ways to beat the heat, day trips, vacations.
And give you a couple of fun summer recipes that you can make.
Ooh, Daniel's Family Recipes. Ian's quite the gourmet, if you guys didn't know that. So he's giving you a little insight. Courtney's quite the local travel guru, not just local, by the way. So she's giving you some tips on how to have your very best day, and a couple of right in town locations, a little bit out of town locations, and then way out of town locations. How to have an incredible day, getting out of your normal environment, normal habits, normal
Your best
patterns.
day, you might say.
You could say precisely that, and you could look her up on Instagram. All right, but also our team has all pitched in and given their favorites. We got biking trails, all sorts of really awesome stuff. And I really, really believe that your summer will be better if you have a copy of the Summer Fun Guide. Completely free to you. Go to toddtremonti.team.com, check the banner up top, sign up for your Summer Fun Guide. If you are a client, a vendor, or a close friend of the team, you should be getting a physical copy of that bad boy. Beautiful magazine quality in the mail soon. But if you want to just be doubly safe, go ahead and sign up for a digital version as well. Go to toddtremonti.team.com, click the banner up top, get on the waiting list for the Summer Fun Guide. It's going to be really, really great. We got all sorts of stuff going on, but what's going on with you? If you've got questions and comments, call 214-310-0008, 214-310-0008, or just find me on social media, Todd Tremonti, just about anywhere on social media. Send me a message, and we will get you taken care of. When we come back from the break, more of our state of the market in DFW real estate, what buyers and sellers specifically should be doing in this market right now. We'll be right back after the
Google
break.
Todd Tremonti and check out over 700 5-star reviews.
Hey, we're in a middling market, Ian. We're not in a stable market, but we're in a middling market. We talked about this week at the Todd Tremonti home selling team. We did a tremendous amount of research. We had all of our agents report on the market, and we discussed exactly what's happening in DFW real estate and what's happening in the national real estate market, and what that means for our buyers and sellers here. And what it means in summary is this. We are in a market that is what I call the murky middle. We are not an extreme seller's market, and we are not an extreme buyer's market. Statistically speaking, most of DFW is still in a seller's market, but it's not an extreme market like 2021 where people felt like they could write their phone number on a paper plate and stick it to the mailbox and sell their house for the most money ever. And it's not an extreme buyer's market like 2009 and 10, where buyers had 76 homes to choose from and could get homes $30,000 or $40,000 below market value. It is neither of those things. And because of that, there's a massive amount of confusion in the marketplace. Some buyers think we're in a buyer's market. Some think we're in a seller's market. Some sellers think we're in a seller's market. Some sellers think we're in a buyer's market. And sadly, and somewhat embarrassingly for our industry, some agents think all of those things too. Depending on price point, location, you might be in one or more of those markets. And because of that confusion, I don't know about most, lots and lots and lots of people are doing nothing. There's a bunch of indecision. There's a bunch of people that really want to sell and want to buy, but don't feel like it's safe right now, feel like it would be unwise. They can buy, can sell, want to buy, want to sell, but aren't because they sort of feel like maybe a smarter, better time is coming, or they might be ridiculed or might look silly for doing that. Here's what I want to tell you. With absolute confidence, I want to tell you. We are killing it, crushing it, dominating, winning big for Todd Tremonti Home Selling Team clients right now on both sides, the buy side and the sell side. And the reason for that is in that murky middle, in the confusion, there's real opportunity to create customized strategy to take advantage of all the best opportunities for sellers and take advantage of all opportunities for buyers. There's always that opportunity, but never more than when you're in the murky middle. When you're in an extreme seller's market, we can take the seller opportunity to the absolute extreme, and then we can find as much buyer leverage as possible, more than most. In an extreme buyer's market, we can win really big on the buy side and then minimize the damage on the sell side. In the middle market, and this happens every year seasonally and in every market cycle when we're in this kind of murky middle, where we can win really big on both sides. Again, there is a strategy to do that in all markets, but right now there's real opportunity on both sides to push the limits. Even though the interest rate market is not ideal for a lot of people, even though inventory is not ideal for a lot of people, even though the market activity as a whole is not being reported optimistically in the media. If you really want to buy and or sell right now, there's a lot of opportunity right now. It does require some strategy and a tiny bit of patience just to have that discussion about strategy. But you call me right now, 214-310-0008. You can text me, 214-310-0008, or you can find me on social media. Just send me a message, Facebook, Instagram, wherever, LinkedIn, Twitter. I think we even have TikTok. You can just send me a message on any social media platform, or you can go online to toddtremontiteam.com. But if you want to buy or sell right now, and you can, you're financially prepared, your timing is prepared, but you've been hesitant because of market conditions, we should talk. We can have a completely free strategy session with one of our full-time, fully dedicated, world-class agents. You can see over 750 five-star reviews on our Google profile and just check out our different agents and personalities and areas and all those things. But if you want to buy and or sell, and you're just hesitant because of conditions, or you're not sure of what the best timing is, sitting around and hoping things change isn't going to make you feel any better and isn't going to help you achieve your goals. Let's have a conversation. The best next step for you is a completely free, no obligation strategy session with one of our pros. Call or text 214-310-0008. Send me a private message on just about any social media platform, or go to toddtremontiteam.com.
First segment is, as always, brought to you by Patrick Leros and his team at Cardinal Financial. If you're looking to get a mortgage, refinance, do anything that you need to do when it comes to getting a loan, reach out to Patrick, patrickleros.com, G-L-A-R-O-S, patrickleros.com. You can start an application directly on his website. You can give him a call, 972-728-3420, NMLS number 308804. And while you're at it, say happy birthday to him. It was his birthday a week or so ago.
It was his birthday, April 20th.
That's right.
Happy birthday, Patrick. Lots going on over here. If you've got questions or comments, find us on social, send me a message, go to the website, or just Google Todd Tremonti. We would be thrilled to take great care of you, whether you're buying or selling right now or not. It is our value, it is our commitment to add value to your life, to make your life better, to use our God-given gifts and abilities to make your life, mostly around your real estate, easier, more peaceful, more prosperous, more wealth building, more enjoyable, more family developing, all those good things. If you could use our help, we would be thrilled to give it to you. Find us online at toddtremontiteam.com.
All right. The National Association of Realtors, or NAR, chief economist is a Dr. Lawrence Yun, and he still believes that the Fed are going to enact 4 or 5 different rate cuts this year, which will hopefully drive mortgage rates lower, that will spur more real estate activity. However, so far, Chairman of the Fed, Jerome Powell, has not said when Americans should expect these cuts. So, two questions. First question, what am I supposed to do with the prediction that interest rates are going to come down, but the Feds have actually made no indication or said when?
Well, we're on radio, so there's no visual here, but picture the GIF where like everyone on Earth is in a crowd over there on the left and you're over here all alone on the right, and that is the current NAR economist. He's over here all by himself in this optimistic bubble that we're still going to get 5 or 6 rate reductions from the Federal Reserve between May and December. I'm not going to say he's wrong. I'm just going to say he's one of the only people saying that. More and more and more economic observers, economic commentators, people who count on these things to drive huge business and industry have sort of given up on 5 or 6 rate drops and are really hoping for 1 or 2 between now and the end of the calendar year.
I'm going to go ahead and say he's wrong. And furthermore, I challenge the Fed to prove me wrong.
Yeah, come on, Fed. Come on, Fed. Bet you won't. Bet you won't right now. Anyway, the reality is this. Many economic predictors thought we would have already had 1 or 2 rate reductions this year. We've had none. And the Fed has indicated, Chairman Powell has indicated, that the economy is not recovering quite as well as they were thinking late 2023. So inflation's not as under control. Employment is a little bit unpredictable. The consumer pricing index and cost of living and all of these things are not exactly as stable as they had hoped. I mean, who could have seen that coming? Wink, wink. But the reality is this. The rate reductions aren't coming quite like we expected. The economic challenges are not going away as hoped. Therefore, I don't think it's wise to expect that. Now, I'm not going to question these economists' credentials, but I'm not a professional economist. I'm just telling you 20-something years of observing these things and voices that are somewhat trustworthy or have a completely self-serving vested interest don't seem to agree with him. All that to say, I don't think waiting for mortgage rates to come down. The real estate conversation typically relates to how the Federal Reserve rates, the banking rates, drive mortgage rates. It's not direct, but it's almost direct. And so I don't think waiting around for mortgage rates to come down has been a good strategy or is currently a good strategy. There's just no predicting when, I mean, you can predict it, but there's no knowing when that's going to happen. What's happened to a lot of people in Dallas-Fort Worth, and by a lot of people, I mean almost all people that have been waiting for housing prices to come down, A, or waiting for mortgage rates to come down, B, what they have today is a more expensive housing market than when they started waiting. And for a lot of people, the actual price of the house is the most important factor in affordability and if they will ever have a chance to buy that house ever again. I know that sounds ominous and scary, but if the value of the house continues to go up, and there have been little bitty dips and tucks, right? But generally speaking, if the value of the house keeps running away from you, it may never, ever come back. If you can, even if you have to hold your nose a little bit right now, I'm not telling you to buy something you can't afford or buy something you don't love, but if you can get into the house right now, my professional advice, not knowing everyone's specific situation, is get into that house. Lock in the price today. I don't think prices, generally speaking, will ever be this low again. I know that sounds crazy to people because they're higher than they've ever been for most people. I don't think they will be this low ever again. Rates may come down. They may not. They may come down a little. They may come down a lot. They may go up. But I would lock in that price if I'm ready, my family's ready, my finances are ready.
Well, I'll give you another reason too. So there's numbers out there that basically say that for every percentage point that the mortgage rate goes down, 5 million buyers enter the marketplace to purchase a home. 5 million. Now, that's not $5 million, but that's nationally. Like nationally.
Yeah.
But that's still going to be a lot of people, no matter where you live. So with that being said, if we do get some rate cuts, some Fed cuts, and that does drive down mortgage rates, we are going to see way more people wanting to purchase than we're seeing today. And that also does what? Drives up prices.
And here's the dangerous thought in all that is that I'll be the one that times that perfectly.
Right.
I'll wait and then I'll jump before everyone else jumps. So I will get the low rate. I know I'm going to get a higher house price because I'm a logical human, but I think I will counterbalance that with enough of a rate reduction that I will have a better financial deal. Logic tells me prices are going up, and when rates come down, competition is going to go through the roof and prices are going to go up even more. But I will beat that timing. And like, what's the track record of people beating that timing in any other investment vehicle? I will beat the timing of the stock market. Almost no one ever does. And if they do once or twice, and then over the long haul, they get crushed, which is why mutual funds, index funds are the investment vehicle of choice for almost every educated investor at the traditional standard family level, right? Almost every investing book in the last 10, 15 years has said you cannot beat the market. Nobody does. That's what Warren Buffett says. That's what all the greatest investors on the planet say, right? But because of that, it doesn't seem to translate to the housing market. People are still believing, and I'm not ridiculing them, I wish I could beat the market, are saying, I'm going to wait, even though I know prices are going up, for rates to come down, even though there's no guarantee of that. Logic tells me when rates come down, the amount of buyers in the market might double. But I'm going to beat the timing and the odds of that. And as much as I would love to have a secret pill and tell my clients, I know how to beat that timing. Stick with me and I'll be your source to glory. I don't. No one does. It is unwise. What is wise, and often taking the medicine that doesn't taste so good is the best option. What's wise right now, if you're wanting to buy or sell and buy, is to buy now. To get the house that you can get, that you can afford, that you can live in comfortably and safely, even if it costs more than you want, even if the price you think is ridiculous, even if you hate the rate, but you have locked in the purchase price, what you're going to pay for that house. Rates might come down later, probably will, but there's no promise. But the price of that house is going up.
Go up, yeah.
Again, there's no certainty of the future. Nobody knows. But prices of homes have almost never gone down in Dallas. In the so-called housing crisis, economic crisis of 7-8-9, housing values in most DFW areas didn't come down or barely came down. They basically paused for a while.
I read that for every percentage point that rates go down, 5 million buyers enter the market nationally.
Yes. And Ian and I were talking about that earlier. It is like saying, I'm going to be the one that will notice rates coming down and I will be the first of the 5 million to the market. It's not going to happen. By the time it's in the news, 1 million people have already heard it from their buddy behind the scene, and all the institutional investors are part of that 5 million, right? And they're going to go buy 1,000 at a time. You're not going to time the market. And this is not me scaring you. This is me saying, hey, I know it's less exciting to buy at a high price and a high rate, but that's for, let's just say like 98%. I don't know who the 2% are, but let's leave room that they could exist. For 98% of people, they'll buy now. If they did, they would buy now and look back in 2 years and be like, oh my gosh, I am so glad I held my nose at 7% interest or whatever, and at a price that was the highest price I ever saw for that house. But oh my gosh, look at the price of houses now. I'm telling you, I genuinely believe the following statement that sounds insane. If you want your kids to own a house in DFW when they're adults, you might consider buying one now or figuring out a way to help them because they're going to be millions of dollars.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've never regretted it.
My first house was $146,000. And at the time I was like, I don't know how we're going to make this payment. I mean, this is crazy town, what people pay for these things. And now I'm like, I wish I would have bought 100 of them. Yeah. Right. And Here's the thing.
feel the
I'm
same
not
way.
special. Everyone ever has felt that way, right?
Yeah.
Of course, there were people that bought in the 70s and selling in the 80s was rough. And then there were people that bought in 06 and selling in 09 was rough. But these are like tiny pockets. How many of you are like, man, my grandparents shouldn't have bought more land? Right. No one says that. Right. Man, I wish my parents wouldn't have bought all those properties they bought. No, we're all like, golly, Mom and Dad, why didn't you buy more $50,000 houses? You know, my first house was $24,000, son. Why didn't you buy 12? Well, because that was a lot then, and this is a lot now. Mm-hmm. But the reality is, if you hesitate, if you're waiting for rates, if you're waiting for housing values to come down, there's almost no data that says that's going to happen unless you are glued to a YouTube channel that is just, they sell doom and gloom. And that's what they've got, a newsletter, and the sky is always falling. Just be careful. That's all I'm saying. Be careful.
Todd, what is exciting you about Homes on Land right now? Like
everything.
How are you enjoying your home
spring.
on land?
It's spring, so everything. I'm serious. I'm down the rabbit hole, Courtney. I'm planting.
I've heard.
I'm buying stuff from online nurseries. I'm buying stuff from local nurseries. Got a new wheelbarrow this week.
Let's go.
I had like 11 yards of wood chips dropped in the driveway. There's apples on the apple trees, peaches on the peach trees. The pears are out. The plums are out. It's so exciting. And the berries are swelling on the vines.
I'm so grateful to be your friend,
and
I can enjoy these fruits.
Season of romance in the garden and orchard. But not just growing food. Some people are like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
The pool, it's almost pool time. We've been playing pickleball.
Yeah.
My son had a birthday party the other day, and there was like 30 junior high kids playing Nukem. You remember Nukem?
Yeah, isn't that when you hold the ball?
You just throw it and catch it. It's like you don't need volleyball skills. Nope, throw it and catch it. But man, if you're 13 or 14, you play that like it is a death sport. The backyard is alive.
Do you have a volleyball net?
Yeah, we have one that you can set up and
popped
take
it
down.
up. Yeah,
it's pretty legit though. It's got like the stabilizing straps.
No, listen, no doubt. I have no doubt it's top of the line.
Well, it's probably not, but it's solid. Anyway, man, if you are a backyard person like me, I do think selfishly, personally, fall is my favorite season.
Yeah,
because everything is fully grown and not yet going to sleep, not going dormant. But we are in the season where like the crepe myrtles are about to pop. And 4 weeks ago, they were ugly. Like, it's coming. It's coming. There's optimism in the air. It's all expectant. So it's great. And
how do I reconcile my like desire for the neighborhood vibe and wanting some land?
Well, look.
Like, I like neighbors.
I love land. I have neighbors. I have more neighbors than you. If you want to talk about
connecting. Do you talk to them?
Yeah, some of them. I have too many to be like best buddies with all of them.
Sure.
But, and people that are listening are like, what are you talking about? I have a really unique acreage property that has a lot of neighbors touching my fences, like way more than and most people have two. I have multiples of that. But the point is this. You don't have to sacrifice one for the other. One of the things we sell the most of, as you know, Courtney, is the biggest lot in the neighborhood. Still in the neighborhood, but it's the half acre, 3/4 acre lot, or the 1 or 2 or 3 acre lot that's around a lot of other 1 or 2 or 3 acre lots. We do sell 1 or 10 acres way out by itself, but most of what we sell is the bigger lot in the neighborhood or near neighborhood area.
And there's more of those available than you would
think. Tens of like thousands and thousands, 10,000 plus in DFW, right? We sell a ton of those in Wiley, Saxe, Murphy, Lucas, Nevada, Parker, Benbrook, Aledo, Lake Worth, Weatherford. These places that are like fully developed communities or like rapidly growing communities with all the amenities, all the neighbors, all the services, all the schools, all the things, but you still have tons of space. But for a second, I want to speak to the person that's like, nope, I got a 1/4 acre lot in a neighborhood. The reality is you probably have a whole lot more backyard fun than you're fully tapping into right now. Use the fire pit, grow something you can eat off of just because it's fun. And, you know, people are like, it blows someone's mind to hang out in your backyard and you'd be like, no, pick it. You can eat that. What? Yeah, it's a raspberry. You can grow raspberries here. Yeah, eat it. It's great. Now, it's more fun to grow thousands of raspberries, I think. But there's a lot of people that are like, dude, I am not pruning and picking and planting, and I don't want to do all that. Great. Don't. But enjoy whatever you've got in the backyard. It extends your living space. It creates value in lifestyle and resale and all these things. But if you're a homes on land type person, and all that means is a big backyard person, we are your people. We want to help you buy, sell, enjoy that more and more. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home on a little bit of land or at the really big yard, let us know. You can go to toddtremonteteam.com. You can find me, Todd Tremonti, on any social media profile, just about anywhere. Send me a direct message, private message, or of course you can call or text 214-310-0008. We still guarantee to sell your home over the average price and under the average time. That's over the average price and under the average time. We're also guaranteeing to save buyers at least $5,000 throughout the process of purchasing your home. And we've been doing it for years and years and years. We're also gearing up right now to fill the shelves of local food banks in Tarrant County, Dallas County, Collin County, and surrounding areas. Go to PBJ Drive on Venmo at PBJ Drive, and you can donate $20, $50, $100. Send us a little note. We'll give you a shout out right here live on the air and on the podcast and all over the place. It's really dumb, folks. It's really dumb that anybody needs a meal in North Texas and doesn't have it. We'll get into it more and more and more as we make our way through the month. But we have got our peanut butter and jelly drive going right now. You can drop off peanut butter and jelly at our Fort Worth office or our Richardson office, as well as many of our partner vendors and sponsors here on the show. But the easiest thing to do is open Venmo and go to @PBJ Drive. Donate $50, $20, $30, $5, $100, whatever it is. You can help put food in the mouths of children, seniors, and families in need. Help us do that at PBJ Drive on Venmo. You can certainly go to pbjdrive.com. Get more information. You can drop off peanut butter and jelly at our Fort Worth office or our Richardson office. All that info is available at pbjdrive.com. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, whether it's got a big backyard or it's in your favorite neighborhood, that is what we do. That is what we specialize on the Todd Tremonti home selling team. Go to
ToddTremonteteam.com.
and never, ever, ever forget.
Find out what your home would sell for right now in under a minute at toddtremonteteam.com.